No fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, for about the 7th time, Donna and I would like to publicly announce that we endorse Don Brown for Senate
in North Carolina. Yep.
Don Brown, we endorse you, brother.
Yes, and
Thank you,
also endorsed, of course, by a couple other notable people. General Flynn, not once, but twice. Sidney Powell, Lieutenant Colonel Adam West. Alan West, sorry. Adam West would be an actor.
But compared to us, these guys, these three are like small potatoes, right?
Yes.
Compared to us.
Adam West. I can't believe I just said Adam West.
Endorsed, it was all over.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, find his all of his information at donbrown4fornc.com. And if you don't know him by now, you should. I know he's been on our show a number of times, even before he started to run for the Senate. Former Navy JAG officer, served the Pentagon, former Special Assistant U.S. Attorney, best-selling author, constitutional lawyer, helped secure a pardon for Army Lieutenant Clint Lawrence, J6 Patriot also, Elliot Bechet. You wrote, some 16 books, including Extortion 17, call sign Extortion 17, and Fallen Angel. So many great best-selling books. Because you are a patriot, you are MAGA. And again, we do endorse you along with all those aforementioned people that you're going up against Michael Whatley, okay? Who is
Whatley is he doing?
He's the former RNC chair. And here's the thing that gets me. Whatley, just like what's-her-face before him at the RNC, Donald Trump was an anomaly. Donald Trump was going to win, period. The problem was the down ballot. And the RNC, with Whatley at the head, in my opinion, did nothing to secure the down ballot. I think we lost at least 12 congressional seats and possibly as many as 5 senatorial seats. That said, Whatley has endorsed Tom Tillis before Tom Tillis dropped out of the race. Let's connect the dots here. Whatley was pro-vax. He was pro-masking like Tom Tillis was. And Tom Tillis, again, blocked Ed Martin as D.C. U.S. Attorney. He's now saying he wants to block Kevin Warsh as Fed chair. He vowed to get rid of ICE. So talk a little bit about this, because my opinion, at this point, Tom Tillis is basically making your argument for you.
Yeah, and you're right. Tom Tillis is the reason that I jumped into this race. I think there are 6 or 7 Republicans who are now in the Senate race. Half a dozen, 5 of them or so jumped in the last week before closing out the filing. I'm not sure why they did that, but it's been me and Whatley really since August. I've been in the race since February, so we're going on a year, and it was Tom Tillis that prompted us to run. And Tillis had gone after my friend P. Hedgesmith. Tillis promised that he would support, and he promised he would support any of the president's nominees who came out of their jurisdictional committees in the Senate. Pete cleared the Armed Services Committee, and the very next day, Tillis began to lobby, his Rhino friends, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins and others to try to torpedo Pete's nomination. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. That was in February. Tillis was not successful, fortunately, in killing Pete's nomination, but he did go after Ed Martin, who was the president's U.S. attorney nominee in D.C., and Martin knew too much about the inside of J6 and would have gotten to the bottom of it. Yep. Tillis has been a rabid anti-J6er from the beginning, and so has Whatley. Whatley, I'll share a couple of things. Whatley, when he was chair of the North Carolina Republican Party, allowed some dingbats. The young Republicans had a couple of dingbats that just were buying into the George Floyd rhetoric, so they wanted to have a march and let him march to the Republican Party headquarters to protest police brutality. Whatley allowed that. He used the North Carolina Republican Party headquarters as a platform to push the jab. Said basically, you've seen this, I think I sent you this video, Donna and Don, but basically said that, I'm taking the jab. You can see your doctor, but the jab is, he didn't say jab. I call it jab sarcastically, but he said the jab is not a matter of politics. It's a matter of science. People have died from that jab. That was totally irresponsible.
Yeah.
election integrity. The NC Republican Party is split because in 2013, 3 years after the 2020 steal, when Republicans are demanding paper ballots, when there's a lot of questions about these ballot marking device machines, Whatley uses Republican Party money to have a cell phone app designed to get him reelected as party chair. The rules required that the voting had to take place in the convention hall, but people were voting outside the hall. People were voting in Wilmington, North Carolina, and even out of state. And that split the party down too. So Whatley cannot win the race. And everything you said is correct, Donna. He's been anti-J6. He's been pro-jab. He even agreed with Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell went after Trump. Here's Mitch McConnell says, I think the president is responsible for the very strict current work. How's my Mitch McConnell?
Talk back.
I don't know who does better than me or you. But yeah.
Hey, all I know is I'm too turtle for the Turtle Club.
Decipher what you just said. I couldn't understand.
McConnell was saying, I think the president's responsible for the insurrection.
Oh, okay.
Attacking J6ers.
Yeah.
So CNN interviews Whatley and said, Chairman Whatley, do you agree or disagree with Mr. McConnell of what he said about the president? Whatley says, I'm not going to disagree with Mitch McConnell. In other words, agreeing with Mitch McConnell that there was some sort of insurrection when in fact we knew then and now we really know there was a Fedsurrection. And so he has been on the wrong side of key issues, made the wrong types of decisions in the moment, and cannot win the race. So we've got to take him down. We will prosecute Roy Cooper's record. We will win this race. And we're going to do it on solid, common sense, America first policies. And North Carolina is not a blue state. The Republican registration has now eclipsed Democrat registration within the last month. That doesn't mean the race is going to be a slam dunk. We're going to have to work really, really hard. But to suggest that this is a blue state or even a purple state to me is disingenuous. Although that's what the leftist media wants us to believe. So, but Whatley cannot win, and we can't let him get the nomination. If he gets the nomination, we will lose a seat. That's really what this boils down to.
Yeah, and we feel the same way about what's going on here in Georgia. Finally, they've raided this warehouse, but God knows what those ballots are going to look like after 5 years when they've really been unprotected. All right, we're going to go into the break real soon, but we got about a minute left. And I want to get into what Thom Tillis is saying about how he wants to block ICE, but let's do that on the other side of the break. But right now, he's also vowing to block Kevin Warsh as the Fed chair. I mean, he might as well be a Democrat.
Yeah, why is the guy not just...
And the same with Whatley.
These people are jokes, North Carolina. Yeah. This is your candidate right here. Right here.
Thank you.
We've known this man for more than a decade. And when he decided to run for U.S. Senate to represent the great state of North Carolina, we got behind him 100%, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the man that you need to send to Washington, D.C., and if anybody else from the state of North Carolina goes to D.C. in place of the man that should, the entire state has made a grave and serious mistake.
So we need to step up to the plate. Money also helps, obviously, and volunteering if you can do it. Don Brown, FORNC. That's DonBrown4NC.com. Pitch in $1 or $2 or $10. That also helps as well. But we got to get this word out because it's a huge machine, obviously, from the right and the left. And MAGA is getting screwed from both directions. And we're seeing that with all these protests. And we'll get to that after as well. Because, again, the rhinos want to kill ICE. We'll get back right after this.
Don Brown, North Carolina needs you.
Mm-hmm. Now,
like a body needs a heartbeat.
I did say going into the break, it's Don Brown for NC and also Brown for NC, as you see there. They both work. But not the letter the number 4, but obviously FORNC works in either case. Again, folks, support this man because he is MAGA all the way, despite Donald Trump talking about the opposition. And the thing is, the more you look into it, unfortunately, I think a lot of the people that he endorses, I mean, Lindsey Graham. It's like it's a point where I think that he's just so shielded. I don't know too many people are paying attention to this anymore. Talk about Thom Tillis, as I call him. All right. Again, Whatley is a Tillis clone, and that's the main guy running against you, Michael Whatley. But I mean, Tillis has just come out and pretty much proven his true colors. Now he's saying he wants to abolish ICE and fire Kristi Noem.
Yes, Thom Tillis is a rhino. He is, at his very core, he's an open borders rhino. And these open borders, and he's talked about pathway to citizenship, blah, 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 blah. Well, I have sympathy for people, but I'm sorry. There are immigrants who have come to this country the right way and gone through the process, and it's not fair to those who have gone through the process to give somebody else a pass. But Tillis is in favor of that. The reason he wants ICE gone is because they want open borders. They want to bring in cheap labor. He's an H-1B guy, and so all that he's done, when Kristi Noem fired, as I mentioned, Donna, I cut a video just the other day, which almost went viral on Twitter. Tillis says, fire Kristi Noem. I said, give her a raise, but I also call out Mike Whatley. Hey, Mike, who are you, man? The only thing Mike says is Trump, Trump, Trump. Won't say anything about his policies. He won't debate me, by the way. There have been 3, debate challenges, one by Onslow County, North Carolina Republican Party, one by a major TV station in Charlotte, and a third by a major radio station in Asheville, inviting me to debate Whatley. I've accepted. Whatley's turned them down every time. But Whatley won't say a word. He won't say anything about Tillis's obstructionism. Tillis also went to Denmark with liberal Senator Chris Coombe and with his rhino buddy Lisa Murkowski to undermine the president on the president's Greenland policy, which is a violation of federal law, I'll tell you the truth. And I called him out on that. Whatley won't say a word about it. Tillis bashes the president left and right. And Whatley, who says, Trump, 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 that's the only thing he says is Trump, 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 won't say one word to call down or to call Thom Tillis on his obstructionism against the president. And this whole thing that we're seeing right now in Minnesota is more color revolution stuff. I agree with my friend General Mike Flynn. It's color revolution. They are isolating things that aren't accurate. You have Pocahontas coming out saying this poor nurse, he was such a kind soul. And next thing you know, video surfaces of this so-called kind soul nurse kicking the taillight out of a government vehicle. These agitators who have gotten shot, and we regret the loss of life always, especially with American citizens, but you can't go picking a physical fight with law enforcement. And the first lady that got shot, she punched the accelerator with an ICE agent standing in front of the car. The guy had internal bleeding. The second one picked the fight with ICE. We don't know exactly what happened when the gun went off, but you can't do something that's stupid. But the graphics and the doctored video and the one-sided propaganda is reminiscent of what we saw, when they tried to isolate that video of Derek Chauvin and George Floyd to try to make people think that Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd when George Floyd committed suicide by overdose of fentanyl. And we've got to be very wise to what they are trying to do. The last thing they want to do is to close the border and get rid of dangerous illegals and others. And so this is what Tillis is part of. And Whatley doesn't have the guts to call him out on it. Whatley is not worthy of sitting in the United States Senate. The next senator from North Carolina will serve 2 years under President Trump and 4 years out into the future. And the question is not who can say Trump, Trump, Trump the most, but who can take that torch and step into the well of the Senate and lead with a set of convictions and courage and go where it's not popular sometime to go. And I'm going to do that. I've said many times on the campaign trail, I will be the most unpopular freshman Republican in the Senate. I will not bow to the ghost of Mitch McConnell and will not do what Thune tells me to do. If I vote alongside Thune, it will be because we align on philosophical issues. But we got a $38 trillion now national debt. It was in the $36 trillion range when I started. And my criticism of the Republican Party, and I would not be a Democrat, but the Republican Party does not have a plan to attack and reverse the national debt. You've got to cut the deep state to do it, and I'll lead the charge on that. Even if Whatley could somehow get elected, which he cannot, all you have would be status quo republicanism, kicking the can down the road. At some point, the dollar will collapse. It will be over for our great constitutional republic when that happens. So I'm going to bring a war to the Senate to try to save this republic.
There's a reason why General Flynn endorses you,
that's
and
right.
Sidney Powell and Alan West and Cowboy Logic. All right,
Don, hold on one second, Donna. Don, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Primaries. One of the things that Republicans and conservatives do is many of them do not take primaries seriously. It's time to do that, North Carolina. Tell them all about the primary, when it's taking place, and why we could lose before we even start winning if we don't get off of sofas and get to the primaries.
Well, North Carolina, unfortunately, has one of the first primaries in the nation. Primary day is March 3rd. But the General Assembly, for whatever reason, and many of us don't like this at all, has stretched early voting out 2 weeks. So early voting begins February 12th. This election essentially starts February the 12th. And we have one opportunity to get this right. There's only one candidate that can take out Roy Cooper. That's me. Nobody else can even come close. Whatley's campaign is dead on arrival before it starts. He's going to try to be banking on his chairmanship of the RNC. Even though we lost a lot of seats under that chairmanship, and he's going to be banking on the fact that Trump endorsed him, even though Trump came to North Carolina on the Friday before Christmas to try to bolster Whatley's failing candidacy and had the smallest crowd in history for a Trump rally. We've heard off the record that Trump was not pleased about that. Whatley is a candidate who will lose to Cooper. Cooper has name recognition. He is the most radical governor in the state's history. I will prosecute him all over the state. I will prosecute him on his record. I'm the only former criminal prosecutor in the race. I know how to do it. I know how to slice Cooper's record up into pieces and expose him for the radical he is. Nobody else can do that. We've got one shot. We've got to win this primary here and now, and it will be a shot heard around the world, and it will show that the Make America Great movement is still alive. My victory on March 3rd and on the morning of March 4th will do just that. We got to have our folks out. We got to have our conservatives out. We've got to go to the primary. We got to tell everybody Don Brown for United States Senate, North Carolina.
Don Brown, FORNC, or just Brown, FORNC, folks. Please support him. I mean, I look at what people do, their actions. And the fact that Whatley and Thom Tillis are pretty much joined at the hip, unfortunately, I don't think Donald Trump sees that because he won the election, and that really is the problem. But I'd much rather get endorsement from the likes of a General Flynn, a Sidney Powell, and Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, or Adam West, as I said earlier.
And Cowboy Logic.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
Hey, Trump won the election, but Whatley lost the mandate of the American people.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cowboy Logic shall return.